brainstorming social media.
Sweet. Thank you guys for being here. This is a big crowd. I didn't expect it. I wasn't sure what to expect. Bailey, is this a record, do you think?
Oh, yeah.
This is a record. I just broke the hook record. Let's go! Lit. All right, so today, a little bit about myself. My name is Destyn Humann. For some reason, they put 4 of my faces on the 70-inch TVs. Don't look at that. Nobody wants to see that. I co-own 605 Media and Entertainment with my business partner who is here somewhere, Eric Skavang. A little bit about 605 Media is we are content producers. That's what we are. We're a media agency specializing in video production, video marketing. We do wedding films, other stuff. Content, that is kind of my specialty. And I think where content goes in this day and age is social media. I'm going to get a quick question just so we can kind of set a vibe here. So how many people here have cable? Raise your hands. What do we got? There's like, I don't know, 5. How many people are here? Probably like 30, 40? Okay, so 5 people here have cable out of 40 people here. So how many people mostly consume content via Netflix, Hulu, other social media platforms? Oh wow, that's a lot of hands. That's probably about 40 hands. So, okay, so who here watches sports? Let's keep setting this vibe. Okay, that's a lot of, who here watched the Super Bowl? Who here watches like a sport consistently, NFL, etc.? Okay, so I'm gonna ask one more question. How many people you're watching your sporting event and the commercials come on? How many people grab their phones during the commercial? Ooh, that's probably about 30 hands. Who here watches the commercial? Because it's really hard to see. Some of you guys were just like, oh, yeah, obviously. I've definitely set the vibe, right? We're kind of all on the same page on at least one part of how powerful social media can be. So another thing I want to get into now that we've kind of set the tone is I would much rather this be like discussion-based. I mean, I'm not here to give a TED Talk or anything, so I might be calling on people like Tia. Tia's got a great social media presence. I'm pretty sure she has like, do you manage just manage, or do you have a social media manager as well? Me and one other person. Okay, so I'll be picking on some of you guys today as well. Feel free to interrupt, throw your hands up if you have questions, or even like you're like, no, that's bullshit, hold up. I'm not opposed to any of that. So let's get into it. Some things I won't be covering because we only have an hour, sadly, right? And social media at this point is such a broad thing, essentially. So I'm not going to cover branding. You can hit up like Jordan for that if you want. She's probably good at that. I'm not going to hit up paid advertising via social media, running ads, stuff like that. That's like a whole nother world. That's definitely something you need to go into over the course of way more than an hour. Nate Tilley here, the Shift Social, that is like his whole thing is running ads and stuff like that. So he'd be super beneficial if you need some people. I'm not going to get into technical aspects of creating content. I'm not going to come up here and teach you how to do Photoshop, just so you know, or like how to run a camera. And I'm also going to do a strong focus on Facebook and Instagram versus some of the other social platforms such as LinkedIn, Twitter, TikTok, etc. Just because I would say most of Spearfish's population is using Facebook and Instagram more so than some of the other platforms. So, let's see. One of the things as well that I want to point out, at least in my opinion, is if you are not on social media, is there any business owners or people that work for a business that are not on social media? Not a single one. Okay, cool. So I don't even have to really say this, but if you're not on social media, your business does not exist. And I think even if you're on social media and you are not actively posting or doing stuff on there, your business does not exist. And the reason for that is how often do you want to go to a business, or you've heard of something, or you're curious about a business and you are not sure if they're open, so you go to their social media to check their hours. How often do we see on like Spearfish Classifieds people looking for recommendations and businesses getting tagged and stuff? Another thing for me is food. I love food, but I'm not going to a restaurant unless I see pictures first. I'm going to go to the Instagram. I'm going to see what that food looks like before I hop in there and just like eat whatever you're serving. I need to see that first. So I hope through this, the takeaways that you have are knowing the importance of value, of social media and content on social media, and I want you to have confidence in producing social media, confidence in like, okay, yes, I need to be producing consistent content. One post a month isn't enough, etc., etc. So I've got this split into 3 different sections as well: management, content, and then strategy. So we'll start with management. I keep putting this microphone on my chin. Is that okay? Does anybody mind? That's so weird. So the first things first with management is first impressions are everything. When people go onto your page, what are they seeing first? Are they able to find your hours? Do they know what you are and who you are as a business, what you offer, et cetera, like right when they, go on that Instagram page, right when they go on the Facebook page. For example, Tia, the Barn at Aspen Acres, when you click the Barn at Aspen Acres Facebook, your cover is actually a video that I did, just saying. It is actually a video of the barn. It shows the barn, it shows the location outside. There's a drone video, there's features of the barn. You see weddings as well. So people click on the Barn at Aspen Acres. What the hell is the Barn at Aspen Acres? What is that? So they click on the page, they get to know it right away, and they see the beautiful barn, the beautiful landscape, and they know what it is, they're interested, et cetera, et cetera. So having your page organized is super beneficial. Here's maybe an opposite. I was hoping she'd be here so I could pick on her, but I won't because she's not here. So it's like a health company, and the profile photo was of her daughter eating like a strawberry or something. That was the profile photo, and I was trying to find her business on Facebook, and I couldn't find it because I was like scrolling through there. And I was like, well, where the hell is it at? Well, then I wasn't even looking at the names. I was just looking at the photos. And because her photo was just like this girl eating a strawberry, I at first didn't even know like that it was, that business. So that's extremely important to have everything very professional looking, organized, and, on point with your brand in terms of your business. So I think a big question in this day and age, and it's constantly changing, is how often do you post on social media? And it's still like there's not really like a straightforward like specific this is the correct answer. As far as right now goes, Facebook, you should probably be posting 1 time a day is probably really good. On a local level, it also depends on like how many people are following you. If you don't have a lot of followers or likes, posting once a day is probably already overkill. But if you have, a lot of likes, then you're good to post, multiple times a week, et cetera, et cetera. So anything more, if you're posting more than like twice a day, Facebook's going to see that. They're like, oh, okay, you're trying to like, push out information, and you're going to follow the algorithm, and Facebook is going to push you down, especially if you are not like paying for like those posts, if you're not boosting them. Instagram is pretty much the same. Again, if you're posting more than once a day, it's going to sink you down. A lot of the top brands you'll notice too, I'm going to use like Nike and stuff like that as examples. They're all companies that are posting like 1 to 2 times a day. In terms of stories, stories are kind of nice because, how do you put this? Like, stories are great in the sense of like, this is valuable content, but it's not valuable enough to be a post, so therefore it can go on the story. So it's good to have stories, but more than like 8 to 10 stories can kind of get overwhelming. I don't know if there's anybody that like, you're on Instagram and then the next thing it goes through and you see like those little like lines at the top, and you see like 30 of them, and you're like, nope, next person, I'm out. I'm not watching all of those. How many of us do that? Another thing is like consistent content. It's good to be consistent because then you're going to continuously show up on these feeds. But another thing that you need to understand is like consistency does not come overnight in terms of like engagement. So you want to be consistent to work towards a consistent engagement, but just know that that's not going to like come overnight. So if you're right now posting like once a month and all of a sudden you're posting once a day for like the next few weeks or even few months and you're still not getting consistent engagement, just be patient, because it does take like a lot of time to continuously get that engagement up after being dead for a while. Another thing to keep in mind is paid advertising is always going to show up first. Facebook, Instagram, etc. These are businesses. They're going to put paid clients over you. Therefore, if there's local businesses or even bigger companies, they're putting money onto their posts, those are always going to show up before you. So if you're really wanting something to show up in the feeds, it's super important. Don't be opposed to boosting the post, putting money on that to put it upwards in other people's feeds and stuff. Next thing I want to talk about is the fact that your social media also works as SEO. Does everybody know what SEO is here? Or should I go into that a little bit? You do?
I do not know.
You do not know. Okay, I was about to say awesome because you're like one of the older ones here, so that would have been awesome. I've been like, heck yes. No, so SEO is I'm gonna keep it easy, but like it's search engine optimization. When you Google something, people that have good SEO, they're gonna come up first in Google. Your social media works as SEO, like works into SEO as well, not just your page. So on Facebook, if your about is wedding venue in the Black Hills, I'm gonna just keep using it as an example, you're probably gonna, like your Facebook's probably gonna show up as well in Google, and you want that to come up first. But it also works in post. Bonnie, you were telling me you had like somebody in Wisconsin that like Googled this specific item. So Bonnie owns the arts, antiques, and artifacts here in town. They sell a wide variety of things, including antiques, and she had a post of this item that they had for sale, and somebody from a different state, what state was it?
This Portland.
Portland. Okay, so somebody in Portland on Google found that exact item on their Facebook, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so that would have never happened had she not, posted that on Facebook with the correct, keywords and stuff like that. So
and
that's.
They bought the item.
Did you have to ship it?
Yeah.
Heck yeah. What did you ship, UPS? No, I'm just kidding. So anyways, that's another thing, is like keep in mind that when you are, putting the text into your content, that's super powerful, because you want, especially if you're trying to sell a product or a business, that might be popping up on Google, especially if it's like obscure. So.
So the strategy with that is choosing the right hot words that basically
Yes.
would pick up.
Yes, and
How do you determine those?
so there's a couple things. One is more like what you know, like, what do you want people to view as your business? Like, what is your business? And then keeping it within that location as well. So for us, like, I want our company to pop up first in terms of search optimization when people might search like Spearfish video production, Northern Hills video production, Black Hills video production, and other stuff like that. So it's keeping that in mind within my About Me as well as my post as well, if it has something to do with that. The other way is there are like websites that I don't know how to put it. Yeah.
Google Keyword Planner.
Google Keyword Planner.
It's completely free, and you just basically say what your industry is, and then it comes up with a huge list of keywords that you can target.
Can you say that again?
Sure. So you can use Google Keyword Planner, and it's like a free resource that Google has where you put in your industry, like whatever you sell, and then it'll have a list of keywords you can target, and also like how many people are targeting those keywords, how many people have like Google paid ads out on those specific keywords, and so that's a really good resource to use for keyword planning. Thanks, Destyn.
Yes.
I don't think you can actually use the keyword planner unless you're paying for Google search ads. But if you use Uber Suggest, it pulls data from Google Keyword Planner, and that is a free resource.
What is it again? Uber
Suggest, just like
Uber Suggest? Okay. Uber Suggest. A lot of people taking notes. That's great. I like to see that. So, does that answer your question, Hans? Before we move forward? Awesome. Perfect. Sweet. So we're going to get into content here soon, but I think a thing to keep in mind is the actual management of that content. There's a couple ways to do that. There's like a simple way. What we do at 605 is I literally just have like a Word document on my Google Drive. and that like I put my content ideas there, and then they move up in terms of the production, and then I have like dates for when I'm going to post them or schedule them, etc. So I also have a notepad on my phone. I'll be driving, I'll be showering, and I'll be like, that's a great content idea. So I whip out my phone because it's super convenient. I write that down right on the spot, move it up into the, sorry, I had to burp. Moved it up into the Word document after. So another thing you can do, if this works for you, I mean, of course, like everybody has a preference, but another idea is to keep a separate calendar that's just for your content. I originally did that before Instagram. Before you could schedule on Instagram, I had a calendar that was just for writing down like what I was going to post on Instagram for that day, for that week, etc., etc. So you can use Excel, etc. And then if you guys don't want to keep it simple, there are like plenty of like apps and websites that you can use to like manage your content and your scheduling, such as Buffer is a big one, Hootsuite, Social Sprout, etc. Do you guys use any of these at the chamber? What do you guys use? Do you mind if I ask?
I probably do the Word document like you do, and then I schedule a lot through Facebook Scheduler on the pages.
So Bailey's in the same boat as us. Does anybody use like an app for like their content scheduling and stuff like that? Yes.
We use Sprout Social.
Sprout Social. Can I ask what is your name and where do you work?
I'm Hannah Bollinger. I work for Strand in Cork.
Okay.
So we're operating on a multi-brand corporate level, and Sprout Social is amazing.
Super cool. So there's one person vouching for Sprout Social. So that's super awesome to see. Thank you so much, by the way. Is that still recording? So another thing that I hear a lot, I do a lot of like consultations with businesses in terms of their social media and stuff, and what I always hear is, oh, I don't have time, like I don't have the time to like make content every single day, etc., etc. But that's the thing, is Bailey, you use the Facebook scheduler, I use the Facebook scheduler, and a lot of times what I'll do is I'll put aside like some time at the beginning of the month, but it doesn't even have to be the month, it could be at the beginning of the week, whatever. You have all your content ideas already done. You're like, okay, this is what I want to produce, this is what I want to post on social media. You could set aside a time every month to essentially do that in one go, and then schedule it over the course of the week, schedule it over the course of the month. I recently had a video that I scheduled 2 years in advance, and it just posted like last year. Just saying. So, what? They don't let you do that anymore?
No, they tap you out after like 6 months.
What? Okay, that's whack. But that sucks. It worked for me at the time. But so that's the thing, is if you don't have time, put aside some time. The other thing you can do is outsource. I think that's kind of a whole nother discussion if you want to outsource to hiring an employee that's just going to do your social media, or even hiring, outsourcing to another business company that's going to do your social media. So I won't get into that too much, but I think time is one of the big excuses I hear a lot of. Facebook scheduling is free, by the way, and you can now, as of like November, you can now schedule via Instagram on Facebook Scheduler, which is the most convenient thing in the entire world, let me tell you. So another excuse I hear a lot of is like, oh, I don't have proper equipment or whatever. You can't really use that anymore either, in my opinion, because like you've got cell phones, they take great video. Nate, you've done like actual advertisements for Fastlane Auto just using your phone and like a simple editing app on your phone. Okay, perfect, sweet. There's plenty of free photo editing apps now too, just to like manipulate your photos on your phone. Graphic design, even that, like there's things that put Jordan out of business, like Canva. Some of the other ones are like Adobe Spark, where I mean it does cost money, but I mean if you're gonna want to consistently post graphics, I mean $10-20 a month going to Canva. I mean there you go, you've got content there. So moving, is there any questions on maybe management just before we go forward?
Can you set up a Facebook scheduler via your phone, or can you only do it on a desktop?
I've only done it on a desktop. I'm pretty sure you can only do it on a desktop.
Yeah, because I went to check it out now, and
You need the Pages app.
Yeah, you need the pages.
Okay, you can do it on the specific Pages app. So I'm a PC laptop person myself, so I haven't even really checked into that, to be honest. If I can do it on my laptop, I'm gonna do it on my laptop. How many people don't even own like a laptop or a computer? Is there anybody? Or at least don't have one at your business? Is that a thing still yet? That'll be a thing eventually, I'm assuming. But okay, so everybody has access to a computer. So I think it's just easier that way, but maybe for some people, you could make it a Netflix and chill thing where you just chill and watch Netflix and post, schedule all your content, who knows, commercial breaks for football. So the importance of, now I'm gonna get into like really what I want to talk about and what I'm really confident, I guess, in talking about, because it's what I do every single day, which is the actual content, the actual thing that people are viewing on their social media platforms. For me, I'm a video person. Some people are photo driven. Some people are, they like written word, et cetera, et cetera. The importance of content, I think, on social media, at least right now, is content is going to show your credibility, and it's also going to show your trust. You can show your expertise by producing content on social media in your field. One example for me, I guess, is we did a realtor convention. We did a big convention, and I hired somebody to literally come film just us making this convention come to life, just us like setting it up, us running cameras, us running audio, et cetera, turn that into content so that I could show like my credibility that knows what I'm doing, et cetera. Nelson Chiropractic, we recently did some videos of so that we could show their credibility, give them a chance to speak their voice on, their passion for healing, their passion for chiropractics, et cetera, et cetera. Of course, like that's more on a professional standpoint. Again, you have your phones. You can make a graphic to show your credibility. You can take a video of you talking to your phone to show your credibility, et cetera, et cetera. I think another cool thing with social media in terms of producing content is you can have relationships with your clients now without them having to come to your door. You know what I mean? Unless you got a cute corgi, like why do I want to come to your business? Give me one reason. I don't have one. But I can follow you on social media and I can keep in touch and stay connected with you that way and continue having my relationship. How often do we, we're at like an event or whatever, and we talk to our friends and we're like, hey, I seen that post or whatever that you did, and then that becomes like a conversation. Does that happen to all of you guys, I'm assuming? So another thing is, you're bringing potential and past clients straight to your door that way too, especially if you've got somebody doesn't know what you're about, et cetera. You're able to kind of push that into their face, or keep them updated on what you're doing. Again, SEO. Another thing that I think gets kind of missed a lot of the times is good content to people on social media is entertainment. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, like Walmart produced. My mom works at Walmart. This is my mom. Can we give her a round of applause? I love my mom. I love you, Mom. Thank you. So Walmart came to Spearfish during the Sturgis bike rally, and they produced a documentary on 3 different people that worked at Walmart, and also 3 different bikers that go to Walmart. I don't know. It sounds weird that I'm saying this, but I'm just saying that was a smart move by Walmart, because that video was super entertaining, and it got shared a bunch, especially by Walmart employees and people of the Sturgis rally. And it got, people didn't realize oh, this is Walmart. People just were happy to be entertained by that good post. Another couple examples on my own is did anybody go to Chinook days? So they took these this pieces of a bike essentially, and they set it on fire, and then they had this huge bonfire. I don't know how to explain it without showing it, but just for fun, because I was going anyways with some friends. I went with Drew, by the way. I went and filmed it, and then made a quick edit on Facebook and Instagram and posted it up, and it got a bunch of shares. And it has nothing to do with my business, has nothing to do with my company, but it was entertaining, and therefore I ended up getting a bunch of likes for it, and it got shared, and you're putting your brand out there a little bit. So I guess the point of that is to say that content does not always have to be 100% related to your business. If you can entertain people and put out value to people, then that's great, even if it's not like what you do for work or whatever. So another thing is I want to stress, like, take advantage of like the way that if you're the one doing the content for your social media, it's good to take advantage of the way that you communicate. So for me, I am a visual person. I like to talk. Therefore, most of my content you'll see on my pages is me talking to a camera. I would much rather set up a camera and talk to it to get my message across and communicate versus, Jordan, who might draw or like illustrate or make a graphic or whatever that might be, or somebody that's doing photos, or if you like to write, you get uncomfortable in front of the camera. That's okay. You don't have to. You can write it out. And it's all about like taking advantage of the way you communicate, because when you communicate the way you communicate best, it's going to show. It's going to show your confidence. It's authentic, and the content's going to, in the long run, be better. And with that, you can usually, turn that into a different like piece of content. So that's another thing to keep in mind is I will, if I record a video of myself talking, after that, that's when I'm going to actually write the text for that. Because if I tried to write the text first and then do the video, like it's going to show, it's not going to be as like good, et cetera, et cetera. Does that make sense to everybody? Okay, cool. Yes.
What do you recommend for content to give enough information but not overwhelm people so they don't read the post? Where do you find that fine balance?
That's really hard. It's 2020. If you're using more than 5 words in a post, you've lost. No, I'm kidding. I'm completely joking. It seems that way. No, that's actually a super good question, and I don't know like if that's really like if there's like a good answer for that, to be honest, because for me, it's all about experimentation. I've done both like small posts and long posts, short videos and larger videos. I think at the end of the day, it's all about like the beginning part. Are you capturing their attention and then continuously, is that a word? Do you have a teacher in here that can call me out? No, I'm just kidding. Continuously capture their attention throughout the post, or at least at first. Because I think if I read a post in the beginning and it says something like, scientists say corgis are bad for you, like you've lost me right away, right? I mean, that's a bad example, but you kind of get what I'm saying. So, I mean, longer posts are fine. I just think you need to capture the attention in the beginning and make sure that it's quality the whole time around. I see so many long posts that are just like repetitive or like not very like concise. And I think that's what another issue is, making sure if your post is long that the whole thing is concise. So.
Would you recommend splitting that up into multiple pieces of content?
I definitely think you should do that. That's actually a really good idea. Having a longer post and having it split into parts and stuff like that. So I know a lot of people in video do that. I think, did Walmart do that? Was that documentary like it was like part 1 this day, part? I know South Dakota Public Broadcasting does that a lot too. So did you have a question, Hans?
Yeah. How many words do you typically get before it adds the read more? You know how you make a post?
How many words? Is it, what 10?
So like you have your post and you have your picture and you'll start typing, and then if it's too long, it'll eventually just cut it off and put read more.
Yeah.
Click that and it expands it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know how much that is specifically. I think the see more is kind of valuable in a way, because people are like, I mean, a lot of us probably like, versus like starting at the beginning, we jump right into like the thing that's in the center, and then you're like, oh, see more. So again, as long as that first part is like grabbing the attention.
20.
Is it 20? 20 words, that's not even that much. Okay, I go back to my original statement about it being 20. No more than 20 words, you've lost your, no, I'm just kidding. Let's see, any more questions on that part? Yes.
You might are going to be talking about it, but hashtags?
Hashtags. I was going to get into hashtags here later. Do you have some sick hashtags you can share with us today? Oh, bummer. Yes, Wyatt.
How do you handle links to other parts of your business? Say if you have different branches, how would you link something else onto your post? How would you go about that?
I guess I don't understand your question.
Say if I I was also running like a YouTube channel or something like that, and I wanted to include that in my Facebook post, would that be a good thing to include under that see more section after they click on it, or in the comments?
So it's hard because the problem with like Facebook, Instagram, and I mean, especially Facebook and Instagram, I won't get into the other ones like I said. The problem is they don't want you to leave Facebook. So like the problem is when you put an external link to like, let's say a website or a YouTube, they don't want you to leave Facebook, so therefore they're gonna put that post lower in the feed. I know some people have started posting like on the post, like link in the comments, and have they caught on to that now? I'm pretty sure, right? If they put the link in the comments, like it still is like, oh, there's a link on here, therefore this is a higher chance of somebody leaving Facebook, so therefore it goes down.
Would it be better to add your general channel on your actual page, so when they're redirected to your page, they can go from there? Would it be better to keep it completely separate?
Your YouTube channel?
So if you have like YouTube or Instagram, you just had it on your page information instead of the post itself?
Yes, that's actually beneficial because again, it's not part of the post. Therefore, I mean, like it's not gonna like sink down to the lower ends of the feed. I also think it's super beneficial to just post like the full videos at this point on Facebook and on Instagram if you can. So a lot of times I'll post like a video on our YouTube, but that same video versus me just posting the link, I'm gonna post the video just directly on Facebook so people can watch it. I'm gonna post it directly on Instagram just so people can watch it there. I know that kind of sucks because now you're counting the views over multiple platforms, but I mean, at the end of the day, like statistics are one thing. I'd rather have like genuine views than statistics, if that makes sense. So, yes, did you have a question? No, just kidding. Let me see, where was I at here? So yeah, I was just talking about taking advantage of the way that you communicate. So another thing that people always ask, how am I for time? Am I okay? I have 20 minutes. Oh boy, I better speed it up here. Okay, so another thing like that I want to get into is the actual content brainstorming here. One thing is you've got a lot of businesses that are like, well, I don't know what to do for content. I'm a plumber or whatever that might be, you know. The thing that I like to think about or like have that perspective of is your business and what you do every single day is content. You know what I mean? So like you work for NMB, insurance agency, so a piece of content could be like you get on Facebook Live and you just talk about this client that you just had a meeting with and how you feel that this consultation you just had just changed your life or whatever, right? So that's like a piece of content. I'm trying to think of some other like things that might seem like boring or like uninteresting to most people. It probably isn't. It gives them a perspective, and as long as you can make like a story out of it, you know, that's content right there. So another thing is convert. You know, like what do clients and customers ask you every single day, instead of, you know, continue. Oh my gosh, I keep using that word. I'm just going to continue using that word. Instead of continually to answer that question day after day, you can make a content piece out of that, you know. Jordan, what is something somebody asks you like every day?
What's a vector file?
What's a vector file? So you could make like just a post that explains like what a vector file is, and that's content for the day, right? Let me see. So educating what is asked of you, et cetera, et cetera. And then also like what are clients not asking you? What do you want people to know about you or your business that maybe separates you from the rest? Like that's a piece of content as well. So another thing that I personally like to do for content is I will look at what some of the businesses and brands in other bigger companies are doing. So for example, if you're like a clothing store, does anybody own a clothing store here? Do anything with clothing products? I seen your hand. I know you didn't want me to see it, but I seen it. What is it?
I have a corgi too.
You have a corgi too? Play date, let's go. So, what's up?
She's in the car.
Bring her in. Just kidding. So step 1 to creating great social media content. Get a puppy, a corgi specifically. You'll have content for days. You'll be set, a lot of engagement. So something that I like to do, so for example, if you're a clothing store, look at maybe what Forever 21 is doing for content, what is Nike doing for content, etc., etc. I'm looking at other wedding filmmakers, looking at other like video production companies that are more high scale, like Lemon Light and stuff like that. And I'm looking at what they post for content that isn't, just their portfolio pieces or whatever. So that's something you can always do. Does anybody else maybe do that already? Like, cool, there's some hands. Cool. What do you do? Just let me ask.
I follow other businesses that are similar but aren't really like in our area, or maybe they're like a level above me.
Yeah.
And because content creation is tough.
Yeah.
But if you can kind of use somebody else's idea or something that might work, and then kind of manipulate it to your business.
Exactly. So there's a few ways you can do that. Great, by the way. There's a few things you can do. You can implement that. You can use it to inspire. There's a lot of times where I'll see a sweet like video or whatever, and it's not so much like, oh, I'm gonna do like copy this, but it makes me think, what if like, because I live in the Black Hills, I did something with that, whatever, you switch it up and make it your own, etc., etc. So that's something you can do when you're, you can't think of what you want to produce or whatever. If you're needing content, like what are the other brands doing? Especially because they're always up to date on the trends as well, and it's really good to follow trends. A good example was like when there was like that new meth campaign or whatever, is like meth were on it or whatever. I like made like a post with the 605 logo and put like media were on it. So like that was just me following trends, and it got attention. So, see. So I'm gonna kind of go over like my own strategy and what I do for content. I'm gonna get a drink of water. My mouth is super dry. I was also really dumb, and I drank like a bunch of coffee before doing this, so my mouth is just like. Ever been to the desert? That's my mouth. So 605 Media Entertainment content strategy. Again, we're a video production business. We focus on video marketing, doing videos for small businesses, helping business grow, etc., etc. So of course, some of our content includes like finished projects, portfolio work. So like I said, we've done videos for the barn. I've done videos for Nelson Chiropractic. Once those videos are done, I post them up on my page as well, and that's also content. So for a portfolio for you guys, if you work in food, like you have plenty of content, you know what I mean? Like you just got to take photos of food. If you're a store, your new products, etc., etc. Service-based stuff, you could do testimonials, stuff like that. So we'll post upcoming events we're a part of. So this event, for example, I posted, pretty much once a day for like the last 4 days, just hyping it up, and that was all just that content. So now what's nice about that too is if you're focused on one thing for a while, that moves all this other content that you have, and it moves it over to the side for a little bit. So now I have more content coming up over the course of like the next 3 weeks because I took like 4 days to like use this instead. So another thing is if you are a part of the event or at the event, getting a photo of what that is, that's a piece of content in the moment. After the fact too, like thanks everybody for coming out, blah, blah, blah. Like I'll be doing that as well. And it also, by doing that, you're showing credibility in the fact that you're an active business, you have clients, you're part of the community, etc. So let's see. For example, again, like the behind the scenes of the Realtor convention, I had somebody come out and just film me and my crew putting together this huge production and this huge convention, and I turned that into a bunch of content so that people could see like, oh, they're capable of doing this. It's content in general, but also I was able to convert some of those content pieces into other stuff. So I made like a recap video, I made an ad out of it. I also made like the dude who filmed it like did a bunch on our photo booth, so I made a whole ad just out of the photo booth. So I mean, you could hire somebody to come out and do these things. Again, you could also do it just with your phone, and it becomes content that can be turned into multiple pieces of content. this kind of goes back into what me and Wyatt were talking about a little bit ago, is external links. It can be beneficial for you to post external links to like other people in your industry, articles and stuff like that. You just don't want to do it too often, because again, your engagement is gonna sink down because Facebook doesn't want you to leave Facebook, et cetera, et cetera. So another thing we kind of talked about as well is like we'll do education. I don't think we're doing this as much as I want to on the 605 page quite yet, but like, you know, I would like to do videos on education in terms of like, here's a video on 5 ways that you can build your business or whatever. So if you're a restaurant, you might do a video on education that's like, you know, is gluten bad for you, or whatever it might be if you're in health. Why does chiropractics really heal headaches? You know, whatever. You can use what you know and your knowledge and educate people through content. So another thing is like make sure you reshare that content. You know, you can always do in case you missed it. Like, for example, I think on Friday, the Hans Nelson podcast that we did, we'll repost and we'll say, in case you missed it, podcast with Hans Nelson, even though it posted on Monday, I'm bringing it right back up and going to repurpose that content. Another thing you can do is Throwback Thursday, whatever happened to that. Atia was talking about sick hashtags or whatever. That's a sick hashtag, right? Throwback Thursday. So repurposing content, bringing it back from the dead, essentially. So, let's see, interacting with your personal brand is another big thing that works for me. When I post something on the 605 page, usually I post it right back onto my personal Facebook, and it gets like a lot of engagement there, probably more than it does just on the 605 page itself. So it's always important to share to your personal page, but I think it's also really important to, if you have friends that might be interested in that content, just sending it directly to them, and they might share it as well. I have a lot of friends that share my content, and that helps boost up the engagement and stuff like that. So I'm gonna use this Lunch and Learn as a content example. I'm filming myself right now, and so by filming myself, this is my content strategy just with this video. I plan on, or rather just this whole thing in general. So again, I was sharing the class itself onto the Facebook pages, and that was content. I was making videos explaining, you know, what the class was and kind of hyping it up. That was a piece of content as well. I went live on Facebook a couple times as well to promote the class, so that's content. I'll probably take a photo before we're done or something of all of your beautiful faces, and that will also be content. And then with that video that I'm filming for this whole hour, that'll be one piece of content, but I also plan on cutting that up, and that'll be like multiple pieces of micro content that I'll use over the course of the month or whatever. So, I mean, I could probably keep going. Like if I wanted, I could, you know, make a post on what did I learn from you guys during this event? What did I learn from speaking at this event, et cetera, et cetera. So just by this one Lunch and Learn that's an hour long, I've just created like a ton of pieces of content off of one thing. So it's important to make sure that you can repurpose some of this stuff if possible. So, so another thing to keep in mind is, let's see, I got lost here for a second. So again, the content does not always have to be directly related to your business, and I think that's super powerful. Again, like the Chinook Days got a bunch of shares. I actually was at a wedding and I filmed like these swing dancers in like super slow-mo. I filmed them in like 120 frames per second. I posted that on my personal page, didn't think anything of it, and I posted like, this was the coolest thing I filmed at this wedding, and of course I'm like, I hope the bride and groom doesn't see this, but anyways, I posted that, and like, I don't know like how or why, but like, I just thought it was cool and thought nothing of it, but it ended up getting like, just like a couple, like, I don't even know, like a couple thousand views. Like somebody knew the person that was dancing in that video, so she tagged that person, and then they shared it like a bunch, and I mean, that's just like a simple video that had no audio. It wasn't like edited or anything. It's just the straight up the video of them dancing, swing dancing at 120 frames per second. and that ended up getting like a ton of engagement, and I ended up getting like, I think like 20 or 30 likes on the 605 page, even though I didn't even post it on the 605 page. I just posted it onto my personal. So I think that's like a thing to keep in mind about like the power of content in general. But like another example was, like an example that is not have to do with my business is like when me and Hans did the podcast, he came by with his ukulele and sang like 3 songs, and I turned that into this whole separate piece of content that I'm calling like 605 sessions now, and I'm hoping to have more people come in and do music or whatever that might be, or their special talents such as juggling and stuff. And that got shared around a bunch, even though that has like really nothing to do with, you know, what I'm trying to like do as a business. So again, content does not always have to be directly related to your business. Just trying to think like, what can I do that is entertaining, that's valuable to people. So how much time do I have now? I have 10 minutes. Okay, cool. Okay, so do you have like a white piece of paper with a pen by chance? Oh, Nate does. He's got me. Okay, cool. I'm going to go through this real quick. Again, I didn't want to talk about like paid advertising or anything like that. That's the whole nother class. But here, I'll get to that in a bit. I want to go over some quick organic reach methods that at least I do. When I post, if there's like another business or organization that's like related to that post or that piece of content, I will usually tag them in hopes that, you know, they might share it or like it or whatever as well. I'll share it onto the personal page, like I said. Especially with Instagram, this works really well, is I'll add locations. So if I'm doing a video, like for example at the Barn at Aspen Acres, I always add the location for the Barn at Aspen Acres because I know potential clients and customers of TIA are going to be looking at that location on Instagram, therefore they might see my content as well. So again, sending content to friends that might also reshare them. Sick hashtags, it's not just hashtags, we're talking sick hashtags. Some local tags are hashtag SpearfishSD, hashtag Black Hills, hashtag South Dakota. I know those are active with people that look at them. I mean, I look at them at least. So, and then if you are trying to reach an audience that isn't local, you know, you have options such as, TIA. What are some popular hashtags?
For me,
Yeah, go ahead.
Black Hills wedding. So I have a question about hashtags. So we're all in the Black Hills, right? So Black Hills or Black, like if you miss an S or something, it's very valuable. So for me, it's like wedding venue or wedding venues. It's 2 totally different hashtags. So keep that in mind when you're doing your hashtags.
And be consistent with them.
Yeah.
I mean, even like, obviously, but also like if I want to say BHSU alumni, always use that one. Don't go BHSU alumnus.
Right, or you can even be Black Hills State University alumni. There's multiple different ways to use your hashtags in different languages.
So along that, what's the best way to track your outreach? Is it through having a consistent hashtag that everyone shares, seeing how many shares you had of a post, or the number of likes that you got from a post?
I think all of those. I mean, they're all of value. You know what I mean? You want to be watching at least minimally like how well that content is doing, especially if you're posting. If I posted like a video of my corgi and it doesn't do well, and it consistently, like as I post more of that corgi, it doesn't do well, it's good to be like, okay, well, nobody shares this content, nobody likes this content, so why do I continue to produce this content? Whereas you post like a video of your dash hun and it's getting a bunch of likes, getting a bunch of shares, you're watching that, you're like, okay, people want this, they don't want this, and it's kind of always keeping that in mind moving forward. Does that make sense?
Is there a tool that you use to evaluate the effectiveness of a hashtag? Like, is there, depending on the platform, like LinkedIn, for example, if you write something, it'll kind of auto-generate some at the bottom.
Yeah.
I mean, what tool do you use?
I can't remember what it is. I know I use a website that like actually shows like what is the most popular hashtag, especially of that thing in interest. I can get that for you here soon as well. So the note that I want to make real quick, since we're getting towards the end, is I want to have this sheet go around, and you can put your email down if you want or not, but what I wanted to do, or rather than what I wanted to do, it's more so what I can't do because of timing and stuff like that, is I wanted to go over, or rather, I will send you guys a PDF of basically my notes here, but I also have been working on this big PDF that's just like resources. It is like, let me find it here real quick. So all the notes that I have in my hand right now, the resource list will have blogs, articles, a couple books, some YouTube videos and YouTube channels, as well as some podcasts and other sort of apps and websites that are all related to social media content, etc., etc. So it's right here, so I'm just going to have that passed around. Again, you don't have to, but if you do put your email down, that is what I'm going to send you. I'm also going to send I'm making a video on... Oh, cool. Never mind. This ain't going to go around then. I'll just use that. If there's anybody that put their email on there that doesn't want me to email them, just come up to me, let me know, and I'll make sure to mark it on there that I don't email you. I'm also going to make a video on how to use the publishing tools in Facebook to schedule content on Facebook and on Instagram, because that's part of the title of this thing. But I didn't have access to these screens, and I also didn't really have time to do that with everything we've talked about. So you'll get that. Also, I'm hoping for us to have a couple of courses here soon for 605 Media and Entertainment on social media management and content production, kind of what we talked about here, but more so splitting it up and getting more in depth. So I might also email you once that's available as well. So I forgot where I was at before. Hans asked a question. You asked a question about the hashtags. So yes. So hashtags are also good. Yes?
I think this is related. How important is it as a business to not only have a presence with your own content, but like and engage with other local businesses, just have people see, for me, Rosemary's Kitchen likes this, likes that, in terms of getting drawing attention to your own business?
I mean, one, I think it's just a good social value to have. So if I always like the barn stuff because I support the barn, and that's not really me being oh, I want people to see my name or anything like that. It's more so just genuine. I don't think it's I think if you go through on your feeds and just every post you see to try and put your name on there, I don't think that's of much value. I think you could be using that time in a different manner to produce content of your own or whatever that might be. But I think collaborations are super strong. So it's Christy, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember. I always think Rosemary, and I know that's not your actual name. So I mean, for you, you could collaborate with the health food store downtown, or Back to Basics or something, and you guys could do a video on clean eating, or if you want to do a podcast or a guest article on a blog or something like that. So I think collaborations are super powerful because you're kind of helping each other out. I think that's kind of this week I was doing the Instagram takeover with the hook, and that's definitely a collaboration. It's going to benefit me and my business, but it's also going to benefit the organization of the hook by putting out more content and stuff like that. So that's a super good question. I really like that one.
It locks you out after, I think, 50 likes a day or something like that.
Oh, okay. So, yeah. Fair. Huh. Interesting. I always get bans. That's what I get on my stuff. Check out my band. We're black metal from Norway. And I'm let me tell you, no. So yeah. Another thing too is this is a different way of repurposing the content. But for example, if you do a tweet or something like that, a Facebook post that's just text, Instagram, you have to have a photo, right? So rather than trying to find a cheesy photo or whatever the hell and making it look like crap, you can always screenshot that tweet, that text post, and repurpose that, post it on Facebook, post it on Facebook, Instagram, etc. Post in your stories, and now you've got one piece of content that is now being used on multiple platforms. So. Another organic reach method, by the way, that I forgot is giveaways. We recently did a giveaway. We gave away, like some beer, some gift cards, Spearfish Monopoly, and some other stuff, and we ended up getting like 400 more likes on Facebook. So that's like a super powerful way. If somebody was to do like, and I mean that's like a lot of stuff, but like if you were to do a giveaway of like a $5 gift card to Green Bean, I'm entering, to be honest. I'm sharing it, so that's another method. But so I think that's kind of all I have on my notes. I'd kind of like to go around and do more of like a Q&A for like the whatever 5 minutes I have at this point. Do I even have time? Not really. Not really? Okay, well that's it. That's me. Thank you guys for coming. Okay, does anybody have any last burning questions? Okay, thank you guys so much for letting me do this.